in Swedish, you have a sound, you write a letter for it. In English, not so much. But we do have this word smorgasbord in English, and the difference is here in this letter A, we say that as a schwa, as an because it's unstressed. In Swedish, I think it's more like smorgasbord, and they have some umlaut symbols there, but we'll look at the American pronunciation. So in American English, it sounds like s'more, which is actually another word that we use to talk about a treat that we have when we go camping. So if you start with the word more and you add an S, s'more, that syllable has the main stress. So s'more, and then the GAS syllable is short and unstressed, has the schwa, smorgas, board, and this is just like our word board, like a chalkboard or a board meeting, and it's just spelled with OR. So smorgasbord means a wide variety of things. In Swedish, it means sandwich table, and it came from them having a buffet-style meal where they put out all different kinds of elements you could build into your sandwich and eat with your sandwich. So we're going to have a smorgasbord of words, which means that they don't necessarily relate to each other, but they're all things that you've requested. So that's how they relate. So let's take a look. Our first word is the word period. And period has first syllable stress. And even though it's spelled with ER, period has the E, ear. So it doesn't say like person or perfect. It says ear, like fear or near. So peer, E, ud, schwa. First syllable stress. So peer. We also have the word peer, two kinds of peers. We have a peer who's a friend and a peer that's a doc. Peer, E, ud, period. Great. So, and today I'm going to bypass, I'll do a very short practice for each in a sentence to give you the meaning and an idea to practice. But same as with all of our word of the day classes, you want to build this word up from the word into short phrases and sentences so you can use it fluently. So for this period, we'll be just briefly talking about each word. Okay, our next word after period is the word appropriation. So let's look at that. Appropriation. This word follows the rule of penultimate syllable stress. Second to last syllable gets stressed. So we have the stress on the A-tion. That means our first letter A says schwa, appropriation, appropriation. The appropriation of the assets was part of the legal results of the case. Okay, next word, we're going to look at the word route or route. So I think this has been asked of me in some of our Friday classes, and there are two different pronunciations for route. I tend to say route with an ow diphthong. Both times we would use a stopped T, route, or a slight aspirated T, route. In some other places, route is pronounced the same as the word root, in which case you would, rather than having the ow, you would have tense oo vowel. So route or route. So we could take a new route to get to their house, or I'm traveling on Route 66 across the country. Okay, so our next word is the word bamboo. And so bamboo is one that actually the spelling is pretty good for representing the sounds. We have second syllable stress, so we would have the black cat vowel and then the tense oo vowel, bamboo. Bamboo is an invasive species in the U.S. and it will grow and take over So be careful if you're planting bamboo. Okay, next word is occur, starts with an O. O-C-C-U-R. Occur also has second syllable stress, and so that letter O says the schwa sound. And I'll write the cur with a K-E-R. So it just has a tense American R in the second syllable. I would build it from the back. Cur, occur. It occurs to me that I have a lot of words to cover today. When did that occur? Okay, great. I think that we'll look next at the word even. You know, some of these words are pretty important if you have trouble with them because we use them a lot. They are fairly basic words, but they're not always basic for how to pronounce them and what the letters and sounds are. So thank you so much, all of you who requested these words, and thank you for waiting while I covered other of your requests and other words for other people. Even has first syllable stress, so this E actually says the E sound. And then we either have a schwa or almost no vowel sound in the second syllable. So it sounds like even, vn. So I go almost right from that V into the N, vn, even though it has the letter E, it doesn't have much of a sound in that second syllable for even. Great. Let's look next at the word upper. The word upper has first syllable stress, but it has a schwa, a stressed schwa. So upper would look like this, upper. I would say what's challenging here is the American R, so start from the back, per, upper, upper. The upper unit and the lower unit have different sizes. Let's look at, the next request was for the phrase as if. And we typically link these two together, and the letter S says the sound Z. So we have black cat vowel, as if. And then we have the unstressed, or the lax I vowel. It's not unstressed, it's actually stressed. In as if, we tend to stress the if, so the as is shorter, as if. But that Z, because it links the two, is almost part of the stress syllable. So as if it weren't enough that we have the coronavirus, we're also dealing with wildfires in California. And we also will sometimes hear people say the phrase as if by itself, and then they kind of use a funny intonation like as if, where they just kind of lengthen on both. But in connected speech, it's as if it's pretty much unstressed altogether, but more stress on the if than the as. Next request was for the word system. System. This one has two S sounds, so no Z, system. And the SYS sounds just like the word sis, short for sister. It has a lax I vowel. First syllable stress, system, that T-E-M spelling represents the T and a very short, kind of syllabic M, no vowel sound there. So if any vowel, I would say a schwa or an I, but go almost right from the T to the M, system. And this T, I would say, is a little bit flapped. It might sound a little bit voiced like a D, system. So you can even say DM, system. You know, that one's sort of in between. It's hard to tell if I'm releasing a little bit of a T or an M. System. I'd say it's probably a flap, more like a D. Okay, next word we have after system is the word recap. And this one I would say can be used as a noun or a verb. So let's have a recap of our lesson thus far. Would have then first syllable stress, and it would sound like recap with the tense E. Or I'm going to recap the things I've talked about, So as a noun, first syllable stress. As a verb, maybe a little bit more of a recap with stress on cap. But I think in both cases we might use a clear E. It's a recap. I'm gonna recap. It's just follows the noun verb rule stress for the noun verb pattern for stressed noun stressed in the first syllable, verb stressed in the second syllable. Okay. Hope you're still with me. I know we're covering a lot of words today, and again, as I said in the beginning, I'll try to put some time stamps or at least a list of the words we're covering in the comments so you can jump to your word if this were one of your requests. And you can also watch straight through and just see some little details about a lot of words. Our next word that we're going to talk about is the word ask. So the word ask, two things might be challenging here. First, the letter A, we're always perhaps a little uncertain about what sound it makes. In this case, the letter A says the A, black cat vowel, and then putting the SK on, so consonant cluster. I would say if you have trouble with ask, say the first part first, ass, and then add your K, ask. You'll hear people mispronounce this as actually a KS, ax, like this word. And that's just meaning that you're transposing the two letters and doing the K first. So you want to try to avoid that in professional speech and use ask. This is part of the African American English vernacular, which is its own dialect of English. So you'll hear sometimes people use ax, and that's an acceptable variant, but I think professionally in standard English, we want to do the S first, ask. And then while we're talking about it, we'll just also, for practicing asks, like he asks me that every day. Again, you just want to build ask, asks. So it's challenging to make sure that all those sounds are there at the end, and otherwise a fairly straightforward word. Our next word is the word prejudice. So let's write that out. Prejudice. So prejudice has first syllable stress, and it has the red tent vowel, sounds like eh. J. The letter J says the J sound. Prejudice. And then this letter U says a schwa, unstressed. Prejudice. Or I would say either an I sound or an unstressed schwa there. So writing it out, prejudice or prejudice. We all need to examine our own prejudice and try to reduce it for better harmony among people. Okay, next word, sluggish. I hope I'm not seeming too sluggish as I'm trying to go through all of these words. Sluggish, first syllable stress, vowel schwa, sounds like we do have just a word slug, someone who feels like a slug, or the animal, a slug. Watch out for the S blend here. You don't want a vowel sound S slug, but just starting on the S, slug. And then the ish is just an unstressed lax I sound, sluggish. And let's do a couple more words. We have the word swamped, another S blend here. And this one, because the P sound, P, is voiceless, then the ED just says T, and there's no sound for that vowel, pt. It's challenging because we have to put the pt all together. It has the black cat vowel A, and then starts with the swa. So I would say start swa, wa, not A, not swamped. That would be like the word swam, swamped. Vowel ah, sounds like that. Symbol that. Okay, so I would say try ah, swa, swamp, swamped. Probably putting all those consonants together is the most challenging part. I hope you're not feeling swamped. with all of these words that I'm covering in one lesson. Let's move on to the word crossover. This is a compound word, main stress on cross. It has the cross, it has the vowel. You could also probably use this with an cross. It's kind of in between. I would go with this one, the law vowel, but this is a vowel. The and have merged somewhat in some places. So I typically teach the traditional with a little bit of rounding, cross. So try Ross, cross, and then over. Make sure you have a good O. You have a good V with teeth and lip, ver, and an unstressed crossover. There's a lot of crossover on some English channels between pronunciation and grammar and other aspects of English. Similar to crossover, we have the word prosperous, another vowel. So letter O, often in a stressed position in a word, often says the like not hot. So prosperous. First syllable stress sounds like pra. And then we have the prosper. We have an prosper. And then lastly, an unstressed schwa. So may you be prosperous in your life. And then we have the word creature. So here's our EA spelling, which says the sound E. I'll write it as 2 E's. We have first syllable stress, creature. This TU, we've seen this in many word of the day videos, that the TU saying ch, the voiceless CH sound. So I would say creature. And then we have just our unstressed at the end, creature. Yesterday was Halloween, and there were many creatures out in the night.